This is Women in Music with Gfire podcast. Episode number 24 with singer-songwriter Natalie Price. So you might want to do a podcast, huh?
Yeah, I've been thinking about it.
Okay, what's the format?
Probably a 2-prompt discussion, one part informative, part storytelling.
That sounds fun. Do you have a name for it yet?
I do, but I'm going to keep that to myself.
Keep it to
I don't want
yourself.
someone to take it.
No, you definitely don't
Yeah.
want anybody to take it. So,
Yeah.
well, I should say officially welcome to my studio, Natalie Price.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Gfire, for having me.
Oh, just a pleasure. So this is an upcoming of our Women to Watch showcase on Saturday, March 21st. And your slot is, I believe, at 3.
Yes.
And we're running live music all day long from noon to 7 p.m. at Opa Coffee and Wine Bar. And that's Saturday, March 21st, 2020. And I hope you all can come. So let's get into our podcast questions. Where are you from originally?
I was born in Fort Worth. Dun, da, da, da.
Right. Yippee. Fort Worth. And did you start writing songs early, late?
I mean, songs I'm proud of, not till about 2012, but I've been putting words in. I mean, I was always singing as a kid, like old embarrassing home videos of me in like a diaper and a cowboy hat and cowboy boots on a rocking horse, just singing.
I want to see that.
Like whatever I knew and then making up whatever. But then things became a little more intellectual in 5th grade when I learned about poetry. And there was an assignment, rewrite this in poetic form. And it just felt right. Like I was like, wow, I'm really good at this. But looking back, it was horrible. But it felt really good.
How old were you?
What is 5th grade? Like
10?
11? Yeah.
So it was probably pretty darn good for being 10.
Maybe. I was homeschooled at the time, so I didn't have any classmates to compare it against.
I gotcha.
But I loved it. And I was like, I'm going to do more of this. And I got my first guitar in junior high. And I didn't really know how to play it, but I started writing songs on it. Just like one note at a time because I didn't know any chords. And that was probably my first like song that I could remember pieces of is from junior high.
And you're probably not doing any of that junior high material right now, right?
No, but looking back, that was a song I think it was called Fly Away. And I think it could easily be rewritten as a Metallica hit.
Well, maybe you should do that. Just do a heavy rock version of one of your old songs.
It'd be funny, for sure.
Well,
I'd have to rewrite some of it. It's a little rough, but...
I hear you. I started writing when I was 11, and I still have a couple of those lyrics, and it's a little bit cringeworthy, but still you can see sparks.
Oh, for sure.
So if you look back at your early work and think, hey, that's pretty good when I was 10 or 11, so...
Oh, yeah, it's great for a 10-year-old.
Yeah, so...
You don't want to stay there, but...
Definitely feel like we've improved a little since our middle school days. So that's a good thing. So when did you come here to Austin?
In 2010.
2010, and you got your 10-year anniversary coming up of being in Austin. And you're going to have a gala performance. Bring all your friends out.
I'm going to have something. It is not officially booked yet.
Okay.
But I'm putting out the feelers to put something fun together, probably a show and maybe a single release.
Nice. That all sounds terrific.
That's the big dream. If it actually all comes together, then it'll be all over my social media. But for now, it's just the big dream that I'm trying to get booked.
Okay. Well, cross my fingers for that.
Thank you.
Did you move straight from Fort Worth to Austin? Did you live anywhere else?
I went to school in Dallas or North Dallas.
Okay.
And
to
UT Dallas.
UT, not University of North Texas or anything.
Right. There's UNT, UD, the Catholic school, and then UT Dallas.
Okay.
So I went to the little sister, the brainy school, the math and science school.
What did you study?
Well, I started out as math, which was not a great fit. And I ended up with arts and technology.
Okay.
And I use that every day.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. Because we were talking about, you've got a day job, right?
Yeah.
But you still consider yourself a full-time singer-songwriter.
It is a full-time job, just all the things that you do. So it seems like even if I'm chilling or hanging out, I'm probably hanging out with musicians or at a show. Mm-hmm. And that's technically work.
Right. It is.
It's part of the job. So all of my time either is at a desk job or out networking or making music. Even tonight, I'm going to go co-write with a couple of artists tonight.
Nice. And are you in that singing songwriter group?
I was, and I think I just got myself kicked out last night because I missed the deadline.
Okay.
And that's okay. It's just a busy semester. I'll catch it next time around.
Yeah. That sounds good.
Yeah.
So let's see. How about some career highlights so far?
One song took me to Ireland in the fall of 18. Yeah, I entered this contest. I'd entered a few times before, but I was one of the finalists that year, so I had to fly to Ireland.
Oh gosh, did they pay for your flight?
No, unfortunately.
Yeah, I know.
But it was like, in order to compete for the grand prize, you had to fly yourself. Yeah, you had to compete in Ireland. So.
And what was the contest?
Tipperary Song of Peace.
Okay, so you wrote a song of peace?
Yes, or a song about, any peace, love, harmony, anything in that direction.
Right.
So yeah, keep your eyes open for that contest if you ever see it out and you have a song,
that's kind of
peace, harmony, love,
all that good stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. I haven't been to Ireland yet.
It'd be fun. It's fun.
Yeah.
I love it. Motherland.
Is that for you? You're Irish?
My sister's like 70%, and I realize that can differ between siblings, but we have the same parents. So
right. So probably okay.
We got some Kellys and Kennys in my family, and yeah, it's pretty clear.
Awesome. What are some of your other career highlights?
I've really enjoyed playing at, up to this point, songwriter festivals have been really fun.
Okay, like?
Recently, the Corpus Christi Songwriters Festival. Before that, the Dripping Springs Songwriter Festival. And I'm pretty much just always applying to whatever festival, just because in addition to playing in front of, people you've never played in front of before.
Right.
I just enjoy meeting all the other artists, and if there's a jam, hitting up the jam, and just inspiring and being inspired by other artists and their art is really filling and enjoyable.
And how do you find these festivals that are a good fit for you?
I'm pretty solidly, when I'm solo, I solidly fit into the songwriter category.
Right.
If I have a full band, then it's a little more genre specific, maybe.
Okay.
But so I've applied, I've looked anywhere from folk, Americana, type festivals to apply for if I'm applying as a band.
Right.
And then songwriter festivals, you usually play solo. So and I'll also pay attention to my songwriter friends and to see, what festival they're getting into. And I'm like, oh, maybe I should apply real quick, maybe.
Right. Have you done the Kerrville thing?
I have applied.
Okay.
And so we'll see.
We'll see.
Yeah, I've applied. I don't know if I think I've applied to Kerrville before. I've never gotten in, but.
It's a toughie. But it sounds like you're doing a really good job.
Thanks.
Do you feel like consistency of allergies? Fuck. Do you feel like consistently applying to these festivals has really paid off for you?
It's hard to say because some of them I've applied to for years and never gotten into.
Okay.
But also the quality of my content's gone up. So
right.
At some point, I think it's helpful to keep applying to things because you're going to get into something eventually, especially if you're good and especially if you're getting better.
Okay.
And especially if you're getting to know people and you're really investing in the community and you're creating new material and you're really seeking out, you're creating good stuff. It's going to get out eventually.
That's very encouraging. I think a lot of us want to hear that and just to keep going.
It's the thing. So there was one particular festival I won't mention that I applied to lots of times. And then I stopped for a couple of years because I just got really upset about not getting in. And I was, because, you know, where if you're making stuff you love, you're like, wow, I'm making really good stuff. I should totally get into festivals.
Oh, yeah.
And then you don't, and you feel all bummed out about it. Like, well, I must be horrible. And it's the thing that I've had to realize is like, it doesn't really matter. Like, it matters kind of, but like, it also doesn't matter. Like what that some random 7 people or whatever who are listening to 500 other applicants.
Right.
Like you just didn't stand out to them that time. Like
right.
That's okay. Like it's not saying that you're a bad musician or you're a bad artist. You just didn't stand out that year compared to everyone else who was there.
Right.
And like, that's fine. Maybe they were tired. Maybe you're number 371 and they just, everything sounds the same after a while, you know?
Right. So it could be anything like that.
It could be anything. And, also, I don't know, there's all kinds of things about it, like that is just sort of, it's kind of like playing the lottery. Like how many people win the lottery? Right.
So you just keep, I think it's better than the lottery.
Oh, it is better. Like
talent based.
The odds are better, but, so, you know, even if you, I think I still apply because I'm like, in the chance that I actually got in,
right.
I feel like that is a helpful thing it's noteworthy. You can put that on social media and it looks good.
It definitely
But like, does it actually further your career? It might, because you meet people there, you meet other artists, you can get together and create good things together. But like, I don't know. It's also kind of like playing the lottery with music.
Okay.
And you just get, you know, a few random judges and they may or may not be musicians. And like, the cat song stood out to them that day that someone else wrote because they just lost their cat. You know, you have no idea what hits anybody in any, we were talking about that earlier, like music's so subjective.
It's very subjective.
And it's not that you or your music is bad. It just doesn't stand out that day to that person in that contest and whatever. And it's fine.
Okay.
But I'm still going to apply to stuff and I get rejected all the time.
And you just make that part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just toughen up the skin and say, okay, got into this one, did not get into these 5, but whatever.
Someone told me, and it was in 2018, right before I actually got into that Tipperary contest. I was really bummed about it. And she was like, you know what, though? You just haven't found your contest yet.
There you go.
And I was like, that's true. Like, apparently I'm not supposed to be at those other ones. And that's fine. It's not my year. It's not my time. That's okay. This is like a little pep talk.
Yeah.
Come on, guys. Apply to festivals.
Woohoo. Let's play. Let's play for some festival crowds. Well, you don't seem to mind answering this next question. Any cautionary tales?
I was trying to think about it, and because that could go in a lot of directions, I guess. But
well, which one do you feel like sharing with our listeners that might be either funny or, you know, a good thing to remind people don't do this, or, you know, it's a wide umbrella.
It's kind of like several tips rolled into one, maybe.
Okay.
One thing is that I've learned that I don't do now is I don't let people do stuff for free.
Okay.
Like it has to be the right situation. But, you know, people will be like, hey, you know, I want to record you. Come to my studio. We'll do this for free. And, you know, whatever. And I've never liked anything that's come out of that.
Okay.
If it's friends doing stuff for free, like, but like also the friends that I had at the time, like I didn't like any of their work. So like that's the other thing rolled into that too, is like, in addition to like people might offer you stuff all the time, but if someone offers that to me, I go and I listen to the work that they've done.
Absolutely.
And if I love the other stuff they've worked on, I like the way it sounds, I like the production quality or the way it's put together, it sounds good to me, then I'll consider it. And I'll probably still try and pay them something. Like if it, just depending on the situation, to make sure it's a good thing for everybody. Mm-hmm. But like, if you listen to their stuff and you're like, I don't really like any of it, you're not going to like what they make for you.
Yep.
So don't do it. Don't waste your time. Don't waste their time. Do something else. And then the other thing is I wrote it down on that paper. What was the middle thing?
We'll pass the clipboard around.
So that was, I like to call that follow your ear. Like, listen to what they do, and if you like it, do it.
Yes. But
then also the work that you do needs to be for you. Like, write stuff you would want to listen to.
Absolutely.
Don't write stuff for other people because you're not going to love it as much. And if nobody else likes it, then you're stuck with the work you don't like.
Yeah, if you like it, then that's one person who likes it.
Yeah, at least, even if no one else likes it, but you love it, at least you have this cool playlist that you can listen to because you actually want to all the time.
Absolutely.
And so like, there was one time I had a friend, and it was 10 or 12 years ago, and he was in an engineering class, and he was like, hey, I want to do this song that you wrote. I liked that song. And I was like, oh, cool. But like, I didn't really think about it. It was like, at the time, I didn't even love that song. It was just a song I'd written.
Okay.
And I went in and recorded it, and I still hadn't at that point even found my voice yet.
Right.
Like, I was singing, and I was singing all right, but like really knowing my voice and like rolling with the characteristics and the low weird vibrato in different places, like I hadn't discovered that yet.
Right.
So like, I wasn't singing with confidence. I didn't really know myself or my voice. And then it's a song I don't really care that much about. And then it's this guy who's in an engineering class, and it is terrible. Like, everything I would never,
everything about
it was a bad thing. And I hope he got an A, but I was like, I heard it and I was like, I'm never going to do anything with this. Like,
did you tell him that?
no.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, what are you going to say to someone? Like, that's
that's
completely unnecessary and rude to say that. But
right. You just
it was
say,
for free.
"Thank
Like,
you."
no one. But that's where I learned, like, oh, you know, if someone's doing something for free, like, it might not be the quality that you want it to be. You kind of get what you pay for with
Absolutely.
music, with a lot of stuff. So now if you're doing something for trade, like, I'll play guitar for you, or I'll sing harmonies for you, if you like, that's different. And now I actually have a lot of friends that are really, really, really talented people that if I would, I feel like there's a much more likelihood of us trading services than before. So I don't know, but just general rule of thumb, like, I don't let people do stuff for free, or don't get sucked into that, because unless you're amazed by all their work.
Right.
And then there's probably a catch, you know, like, oh, you don't own the rights to your song or something.
Right.
Like,
some weird thing.
yeah. So I don't know.
No, those are great. That was 2 thumbs up.
Cool.
Okay. I think we should listen to this song first, and then we'll discuss it. But this is one of your favorite songs that you wrote. Okay. And let's check it out.
I'm so glad I wasn't younger when we met. You might have tried harder, I might have stayed longer. We'd have more regret. Sometimes, honey, I still wonder why I stayed. Bearing your jealousy, the heaviness strangled me, a songbird in a cage. These days you still come to mind, but it's not like it was when you'd cross it infinite times. I'm so glad I can say I'm finally clean. The poison you gave me silenced and chained me. Now this bird can sing. These days you still come to mind, but it's not like it was when you'd cross it infinite times. Baby, it's better we tried to love each other and we said goodbye, 'cause I like it got before it gets me high. These days, these days, these days, these days, you still come to mind. But it's not like it was when you'd cross it infinite times. Baby, it's better we try to love each other and we say goodbye. 'Cause I learned this spot of toxic love like it got before it gets me high. These days, these days, these days, these days.
That was really beautiful.
Thank you.
And what's the name of the song?
These days.
These Days. You want to talk a bit about it?
Sure. It was the song that I wrote in the studio like the week that we were recording.
Okay, which studio?
Brian Douglas Phillips' studio. I think he calls it Rattle Trap.
Okay, that's here in Austin?
It is. It's on the north side of town. And we had emailed. It was my first time in my first time in the studio. I didn't know how it would go. And he emailed me the night before with like a list of songs. And I was like, oh, no, we haven't talked about this, have we? I wanted to do these 5 songs. Right. And then he was like, oh, definitely not this one. And so one of them got cut.
Oh.
And I panicked because I was like, whoa, what song? And so I sent like 12 songs I'd written recently that were in various stages of completion. And he chose the one that I'd written like the week before. Oh. And it was for a songwriting group. And it, it just has to be 2 minutes of a song. And so it was more of a complete, like the pieces were complete, but like the lyrics were, I knew I'd have to rewrite them. And so it ended up being the first one that we laid down track wise, like with everything. And then, but I was working on lyrics the whole week. And so it was the last one to actually be laid down vocally.
And
I loved it. Like I felt like I really fought for it. It's one of those songs that I was up till like 2 or 2:30 the night before I sang it because I wanted to make sure to get those lyrics right. I wanted the story to make sense and I wanted it to be a piece of me. I didn't want it to just be, and I felt pressure. I was like, this is on the album. It's got to be that ass.
Right. So you ended up working well under pressure.
Well, I got it done for sure.
Okay. What's it about?
It is about being really grateful you're not in a previous relationship. And yeah. And looking back and seeing how toxic it was and how in a cage you were. Right. And just being really grateful you're not there anymore.
Oh, absolutely. In a cage, like, do you want to further embellish that or?
Well, in the song, I talk about at the end of verse 1, a songbird in a cage. Mm-hmm. And then in verse 2, now this bird can sing. Like, so it's a process of coming out of that cage, is coming out of that relationship.
Okay. So you felt locked into the relationship, couldn't get out, or was it?
I don't think I knew that I was in a cage. Uh-huh. Like, it was a process of learning, oh, this is a cage. Mm. This is, you are jealous of me being on stage. Oh, you don't trust me in a bar or whatever. Okay. So it was a very weird, like, understanding jealousy, a different kind of jealousy. I don't know. It was a very weird. I actually started to act. I thought I was going to lose my voice. I had a pain in my throat all the time.
Wow.
And I thought like I was going to lose my speaking voice. And it just ended up being like, wow, it's like a spiritual and emotional manifestation in a physical way of this thing that I felt in the relationship. I felt unheard and stifled and not supported in music and all this stuff. So I feel like part of why I haven't brought music out before now is because of that relationship. But I got this really beautiful song out of it. So
well, that's what I always say. I got all my angry and whatever, like, oh, okay, I'm not there anymore. It's great for songs.
Yes.
But,
and I learned so much in that relationship, and I learned so much about myself spiritually, in my relationship with God. Like I would actually, if that was the only way to learn those things, then I would relive that relationship in a heartbeat.
Okay.
Like what I gained from it was worth it.
That's good to know.
Yeah.
And now you're out of it and you don't have to
totally
deal with
out.
it anymore.
So grateful.
Yeah.
Now this bird can sing.
Very cool. So let's see. Where can we find you? Do you have any plugs? Any shows, website, social media?
Yes. Everything digital can be found if you search Nat Price Music. It's my Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. It's my website, natpricemusic.com. And then I'll be updating those with dates. I have several, like I think at the time that this is coming out, I have several South by Southwest times that I'm playing. Okay. Those are already, I'm posting about those this week on my Instagram. So Instagram is the first thing I post to for sure.
And you're going to post our event too, right?
Of course.
Of course.
It's on there.
Done and done.
Yes.
So mostly natpricemusic.com will get you wherever you want to go.
And Instagram. I keep Instagram the most updated.
Okay, so that's the
but it's still Nat Price Music. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Very cool. Are there any other stories we should share? Anything that's come up to mind?
Stories. There's tons of stories.
Well, I'll let you put in the back. I'll ask you the question, my little techie question. People listen to MP3s on streaming services. MP3s are pretty crap quality. Do you have any way that your listeners can hear stuff at a high quality?
I put my album on vinyl.
That's one of the best ways.
It's in a physical format, and otherwise, and we talked about it briefly earlier.
Right.
I think at least with the current generation, so vinyl's had a resurgence, which is cool.
Exactly. And how would people buy your vinyl?
I have a Bandcamp.
Okay.
And I think it's just natalieprice.bandcamp.com.
Okay.
And so people can purchase there or at a show.
Okay.
And I guess I think I probably will carry a few on me during South by. Not too many. They're a little heavy, but
yeah, and they can break. That's the bad
I just
thing
got
about it.
a hard vinyl like carrying case. It holds like 30, and I've just decided to try that for a while for merch and see how that goes.
Very cool.
But yeah, that's the struggle. There's so many downsides to vinyl. It's expensive.
Yes.
It's, temperature, and there's so many things that could go wrong. But I feel like a lot of people, like younger people that are listening, like don't care about the quality. Right. They're used to hearing. They've grown up with MP3 quality. And so, and a lot of people don't have like a sound system, even like you have set up here on the desk with the actual speakers to listen to something. You have earbuds. Right. So at that point, it really doesn't matter. And so if somebody... I feel like people that buy CDs, they're buying it to support you and your music. Some people actually listen to that disc. Right. Vinyl, I feel like people will actually put into a player, most likely. Right. But I think generally people, I don't know, I think that's why maybe live music is still essential, is because I listen to MP3s. Like that's the streaming quality that I listen to, and that's fine. I also have vinyl. And then I go to live shows and I'll listen if I like a song, at that lower quality or whatever. Like I know already that I want to see what that person sounds like live. And that's where you get the once in a lifetime experience, that show that's never going to happen again, Right, exactly. So pretty much you're just encouraging people to come out and hear you live. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. That sounds good. Did you think of any other stories? I mean, do you have a question or a prompt that would
Question or a prompt? Okay. What was the best gig ever or the worst gig ever?
There was what felt like kind of the worst gig.
Okay.
And it wasn't actually the worst, but I had this really amazing drummer who was playing a variety of percussive instruments.
Yeah.
And the people that organized the event were super sweet, and like they were cool, but the event itself was like at a brewery, and it was like an art thing where there's art vendors all around the room, and It was a loud, echoey room, and like nobody was there for the musicians. No one was there for music. Everyone was standing in line for beer, and it was so loud and echoey. Like it was just like one of those things where it sounded, the way it was advertised was different.
Yeah.
And then you show up and you're like, oh, this is background music. This is not at all about, because there were lots of musicians that had sets. Normally, if you're background music, you're playing for like 2 or 3 hours.
Right. And you have
but we had like a 30-minute set or something. So normally that means it is more about the music, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
And I just felt bad because I had this drummer with me who's amazing.
Right.
And we put this thing together and we're doing this thing and I'm like, nobody's listening. Nobody cares. And it's fine if, you know, I'm here doing this thing and I get to play with this drummer and we're working together. And so it was beneficial for me, but the gig itself just felt like horrible. But it was like also really interesting because I get this random email like 2 or 3 weeks later from like a local news channel, and they're like, hey, really loved your show at fill in the blank horrible gig.
Right.
We'd love to have you play on TV. And I was like, well, that's so weird. Like, how
did you get to
that gig?
Yeah. Did you get to use the same drummer and play on TV?
Yes.
So actually the worst gig had a real silver lining.
Yes. So that's why I like to use that as you never know.
You just never know.
And the cool thing, or a thing that I've been learning, and we all have our good days and bad days where like we just have a bad attitude about, we just feel really negative about the situation, and it's hard to like have a positive, grateful attitude.
Yeah.
Like anything can happen. And what felt like a really disappointing gig ended up being this really cool opportunity later. And so it's a really important as musicians to still play your heart out and play for that crowd, even if they're not listening.
I think that's beautiful. That's a great way to end our interview. Thank you so much, Natalie Price, natpricemusic.com, and all that good stuff.
Thanks for having me. It's been an honor.
Me too. Bye.